Hey Nathaniel, this is a late night demo for you for your Darth Sidious hilt. Got it all complete tonight. I got your hilt complete, and then also you asked me to convert your blade plug to a neopixel, so I got that done as well. So we're going to start off. I've got a battery in here. I'm going to show you how it works, and then I'm going to show you how to take the chassis out. You asked for a removable battery in this, so in order to get a removable battery for this guy, you have to have a removable chassis as well. So we'll go over that in a second, but while I've got a battery in it, I do have this kind of rough test blade. I apologize for the looks, but it does light up. It gets the job done, so we're going to use it. One thing about this hilt is this blade socket is bigger than a 7/8 and smaller than a 1 inch. So I actually had to wrap a little bit of tape around my blade here to get it to fit in snug, because you don't want it wobbling around in there. You might short one of the pins. So this is what I did for my test blade. Not quite sure what your plans are as far as your blade goes. But before I put the blade in, I'll just show you real quick the blade plug. When I made this blade plug, I made my 3D printed part around here a little bit bigger in diameter than the plug. That's on purpose. This is actually a good diameter to fit in the blade socket. So that was done on purpose. That way there's no wobble there. There is a blade retention screw on the underside of this gold piece. I'm not going to use that right now. I'll show you that as we're taking it apart, but I'll just hold it in there for now. So it pops right in there. When it's pushed down in there and locked in place, it actually is right there, right where it needs to be. So if I hold that down and hit your activation button, there. Nice blade plug. So that's working fine. Now for the blade. Put the blade in there with the tape. Like I said, it's pretty snug with the tape, but that's how you want it. This is the first hilt that I've seen that actually had to do that too. Kind of weird. Let me turn this light off. Then we'll hit your activation. Smooth swing. This button right here is your tap for blaster deflex. Hold for blade lockup. And then off right here. Some of the tracks some of the fonts that you have will have soundtracks to play in the background. You just double tap the activation. And while that's playing, you can turn the blade on. You get flash on flash when you hit your desk light or when you hit your hand. When you turn the track off, double tap the activation again, just like that. And when the blade is off and you want to change sound fonts, hold your auxiliary button till you hear this.
Sound bank selection.
You ever hear the tragedy of Darth the Wise?
Now you can cycle up or down through your font bank with either one of these buttons.
Anger and your...
When you find one you like, just hold the button down.
Let me help you to know the subtleties of the Force.
We'll do another one too.
Sound bank selection.
Anger and your lust for power. I see through the lies of the Jedi.
I gave you a lot of different blade effects with this guy. I'll turn this off. To change your blade effects, we'll do that before we change color. Hold down your auxiliary button and twist your wrist, but keep the auxiliary button held down.
Spectrum.
Keep holding it.
Blade profiles.
Now, when that says that, you can let go, and then you can actually twist the hilt slowly until you find something that you like. I'm going to go with a solid color for this video. Just tap a button when you find something. Now to change blade color, you'll hold down your auxiliary and twist your wrist, but then let the button go.
Spectrum.
Let it go. Now you can twist the hilt again real slowly, and you'll hear it clicking and cycling through the different colors. it'll go back to red. And when you find one you like, just tap the button. And that is the operation side of your hilt. Now we get into the guts. So what we'll want to do here is we're going to want to, there's 3 pieces here, we're going to want to unscrew them all. This first piece unscrews pretty quickly. Second piece is on there with a lot of threads, but it comes right off. And then the gold piece slides right off. I'll show you why we want to do that, but let's take the gold piece back here on the pommel cap off too, and that's just a screw right here. And that's just a few threads. And then this thing pops right off, and then this slides out. The chassis is made to where when this is in, the chassis gets put in through the front, and it butts up right against this guy, so there's no guessing on the depth of where to go. So now that everything's out, your chassis is held in by one set screw right here. So we'll want to unscrew that guy. And you can just take it all the way out. When you put it back in, make sure you're screwing it in enough to where it's flush with this tube right here. Otherwise, this gold piece won't go on. But now that that's out, you can just take your finger in the back. Don't push directly in the middle of the speaker, but on the lip of the chassis, just push forward. And then it'll pop out just like that, and then you can grab it and pull it out. So this is what you've got right here. This is a completely independent chassis. Your battery, obviously, right here. We're going to pop this out real quick. So it takes your battery. The spring side is your negative, and then the side towards your speaker is your positive. Don't ever swap those around. You will see wires in there, but I printed a wire channel so it doesn't affect your battery at all. They're actually inside of a channel right there, and they're not going anywhere. And then you got a 24mm bass speaker right here with your neopixel pins and your CFX board right here. This board is not glued in any way. It just kind of sets in this tray that I made for it. That way you can pop it out at any time from the back, pop it out like that, get to your board, and then put it back in, and then there's your buttons right there. Now you notice in between your 2 buttons towards the front, there's a hole right here. That hole is actually what you're going to line up with this hole right here. And it's pretty easy to do. What I would suggest while you're, if you want to put the chassis back in, you want to put this piece in first. So this only goes in one way. See the hole there? We'll put the screw in. Tighten that up just a couple turns. Now that's not going anywhere. And when you put your chassis in this way, it butts up right against this guy. But you want to put it in, obviously, where this hole and this hole line up with each other. So you just have to pay attention to that. Usually just put it down, run it straight in. You don't have too far to go, so, and then usually get it pretty close every time. And then if I'm a little bit off, I just take my Allen key that I'm using to put the set screw back in, and I just kind of turn it and line it up where it needs to be, just like that. And then when the 2 holes are lined up, we'll just take our set screw and we'll put it back in the hole. There's a little bit of doing, but I think on this particular hilt, you really can't get away from that. I was going to epoxy on your pommel cap to your chassis to make it easier to line up that way, but I decided not to do that. Didn't want to epoxy anything if I could get away with it. It's just better for you not to have a piece that's all glued. So that's the setup that I came up with. So now that that's past the surface of that, then I can take this guy, I can put it back on, and you actually have a little blade retention screw. Now this blade retention screw came with your hilt. I don't know how good it's going to work for you. I personally was not using it because I didn't feel like even right there, it's like it's going right through. It doesn't really have enough bite. What worked better for me was just a little bit of electrical tape on my blade. So that's what worked for me. So I'll put this on there. Let me take this guy, I'll put it on there. This middle piece actually screws back on. Just like that. And then your gold piece screws on as well. If I can get it. It's late and I'm tired. And it seems like the simplest things are eluding me right now. There we go. Now, that's how you know it's lined up properly. You can hear the buttons working. Everything is good. Blade plug, hilt. There you go, sir. Thank you.